Hello Aries, and welcome to my channel Tarot by Gabrielle. This is going to be a general reading for Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs, looking at your connection to the person that you are dealing with and needing to learn the most from right now. We're looking at all three sides of the connection, so we've got your energy toward it, their energy toward it, and the energy in between it. The concept being that there are three sides to every story, so we've got your version of the truth, their version of the truth, and this higher level unbiased truth in the middle. This middle section is looking at what is the deeper purpose of the connection and the best way for you to move forward in order to align further with your higher self. As I do in all of my readings, I pulled the overall energy and clarified those messages, as well as the overall theme for the reading, which we'll jump into in just a second. But I still have a different tarot deck I'll be pulling from for each side of the connection, as well as the advice deck I'll be using to close out the reading in the extended. Any information on the extended reading or on booking a personal reading with me is in the description box below. The last thing, please remember that these are general readings. They are not here to resonate fully for everyone, and they won't resonate fully for everyone. So do please remember to take what does resonate and helps your personal situation and leave what does not. On that note, the whole reading can be reversed. If that is the case for you, that's totally fine and totally normal. Again, the point is to take what helps and leave what doesn't. All right, Aries, let's jump on in. On your side, you have a wild card with the Temperance in reverse. I feel like you're in a bit of a state of frustration when it comes to this connection. I feel like you don't really know what to expect from this person, and I feel like that that kind of, I don't want to say it keeps you on your toes, but I feel like the frustration is stemming from the fact that you're like, why can't this just be good? Like, why can't you just, and you know what, actually, before I go into that more, I want to talk about this person's energy because they have drama with the Death card here. I feel like this connection is in separation, that there was this ending that took place here. And I feel like it has to do with this person's tendency to wear a mask. You know, hide behind a mask, not be open, not be vulnerable, not be authentic and true to who they are. And I feel like that's what's frustrating to you, because I also feel like you probably see through this person's mask and you're like, man, if you could just like understand that I already see you for who you are, like I love you, I care about this connection, I want to make this work, but it just feels like the reason that there was an ending in this connection is because this person struggled to drop like that facade, to drop that mask. Now, it's interesting because in between this connection, you have growth with the Ace of Pentacles here. And then the overall theme of the reading is reconciliation. So the way that I see this is, if you want this connection to come back together, I do feel like there's a huge caveat to this, but I do feel like as if that's possible if you're dealing with somebody who is also growing. Now, if not, I feel like the growth that you are experiencing through this connection is going to lead you to better opportunities. So honestly, either way, Aries, I kind of see this as a win-win for you. It's like either, you know, this person is going to get it together, things are going to work out, or they're not, and you're going to experience whatever growth you need to, and you're going to move on and you're going to find better. That's what I feel like this is saying here. But let's see what we've got. Let's see. All right. This is Aries' side of this connection. You have wild card with the Temperance in reverse. This is Aries' energy toward the person they are dealing with and needing to learn the most from right now. I feel like it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, reconciliation is possible, but like, has this person changed? Have they grown? Are they going to show up better? Or like, are they just going to carry the same energy? Because I feel like you're in this energy of like, no, I'm not dealing with that. Like probably a very love me well or leave me alone kind of place. This is Aries' side of this connection. The Eight of Pentacles. You put a lot of work into this connection. You put a lot into this. And I also feel like you have worked on yourself too. I'm definitely speaking to a collective that has put some work into themselves. I want a little bit more on this Eight of Pentacles. And maybe that's why you're frustrated. The Hierophant in reverse is the need to look at things from a different perspective. The King of Swords, you could be dealing with a Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius. This is air sign energy. But I also feel like this is this energy of being, and this has kind of been a theme for readings this week, just being very discerning. I think that when you do a lot of work on yourself and you do heal and you do grow, like, you don't just want to let anyone into your life, right? You want to be picky with who you let into your energy field, and especially when you're dealing with someone who you kind of know might act a certain way or might kind of cause some chaos and drama, just making sure that, like, you are being very discerning, because I feel like what you're deserving of in this connection and what you received for a really long time, there's been this mismatch here, and I feel like the frustration is like, man, if you would just like almost like this person is trying really hard in like the wrong ways, like trying to be cool or trying to like come across as like, I don't know. It's interesting. And I feel like you're like, just drop the act. Like, just be with me. Like, just have a conversation. So I feel like you should make sure that you really are, being picky with the energy that you allow in, especially if this person hasn't grown. All right, Aries side of this connection. Man, there's the Ten of Cups, the Knight of Wands. I mean, I feel like the hardest part is you see this Ten of Cups in this person, almost like if they would kind of get their shit together, like, you're like, man, don't you just see what we could be? And I feel like with this Knight of Wands, you were willing to really pour yourself into this. And I think that, it's not a bad thing to pour into people, especially the people that we want. Excuse me, I gotta fix this. I don't like the way that was making my shirt look. Especially the people that we want to be in our lives. Like, it is appropriate to, to give what it is that we desire to receive. But when we give so much to people that don't reciprocate, that's when we kind of get ourselves into trouble. And I feel like that might be kind of what happened to this connection, especially if there's this wild card energy. Like, maybe sometimes you did receive what you wanted from this person and it was like, oh, finally. But then other times, maybe they put that mask back on because they started feeling insecure and started kind of closing off. And you were like, come on, like, I thought we were past this. So I feel like it's probably been very hard for you to navigate this, because I'm sure that you've seen glimpses of that person that, like, that they really are. But then when they start feeling insecure and vulnerable or defensive or whatever the case is, I feel like they throw that mask back on, they jump into that facade, they withdraw, and that kind of makes you go, well, I don't know what to do. And again, I feel like that's what ultimately led to this connection coming to an end. And so with where you're at now, I feel like, I don't even know, Aries, if you really want a reconciliation with this person. Maybe some of you do. I feel like what you want is a reconciliation with this person who shows up as the person you know they can be, not as the person that they showed up with as in the connection. All right, Aries side of this connection. Ooh, the way that came out. There's the Devil and there's the Ace of Pentacles. So you want this opportunity too. Like, you do. Okay, this is why you have to be careful. You have to be careful, because I feel like there's also a little bit of attachment and like addiction almost, like, to this person and to this connection, especially if, like, there's a lot of highs and a lot of lows, a lot of breakups, a lot of makeups. That can make it really hard for you to kind of break out of a cycle, because each time you're like, oh, things are getting better, or they'll be different this time, oh, they'll change, oh, they said this, or whatever the case is, and then they turn around and things end up being the same. I feel like there is this need to, like, okay, sure, reconciliation is possible, but also getting very real with yourself on what it is that you're looking for when it comes to love, and making sure, like, being able to say, listen, you are either going to love me well or you are going to leave me alone, because I am not interested in going back to how things were. Like, because I feel, Aries, like you kind of are at this place of being pretty done with how things were in this connection. It doesn't mean that you don't still, love and care about this person, but I do feel like you have, like, separately done a lot of work on yourself, and that needs to be respected. Like, being able to say, like, I've been through too much to let myself go backwards. Now, that doesn't mean that it's not, because again, this growth card and this Ace of Pentacles is this indication that the opportunity in this connection is possible if both people grow, right? That's what this is. And I feel like you have grown, like you've done your part, which is why I feel like this is kind of a win-win for you, because like either you're going to grow and you're going to attract better love, whether or not it's this person. But this Devil makes it a little hard, because I feel like you have a tendency to really, like, don't get roped into this person's games, I guess is what I'm saying. Like, it just be like straight with them, I think is where this is coming from, because I feel like you might have a tendency to like allow them to kind of draw you back into maybe some toxicity, some negativity, and it's like, I feel like you know better now, and it kind of feels like there's this need to say, like, listen, I love you, I care about this connection, your behavior is going to have to change, because an apology doesn't mean anything if there's not changed behavior, right? Which I don't know if there's. So let's see where this person is at. This person's energy toward Aries. Ooh. The Nine of Wands. So they're holding themselves back from commitment. There's that freaking Ace of Pentacles. They're holding themselves back from committing to this because they don't feel good enough. Lovers in reverse. They don't feel good enough for it. Now, I don't think that they're straight up like, I don't feel good enough for Aries, so I'm not going to commit. I feel like there's probably some deeper insecurities there that tend to come out in this connection. I feel like this person, I feel like you intimidate them. I know that might sound a little bit weird. Not in a bad way, like not like you're intimidating, but almost like for some reason they're intimidated maybe by your emotional intelligence or by your bluntness or, whatever it is. I feel like they kind of like, it makes them feel like a little insecure. I feel like that's why they put this mask on and this facade on and like create space and create distance and struggle to commit, because commitment is so much more than just what you say to another person, right? Especially when there's engagement or marriage involved. Like, it's not even really about the ceremony, the marriage. It's about how somebody continues to wake up every day and choose to commit to that connection, to put in the work, to have the, communication, to be vulnerable, to, face the accountability, like all of those things that come with a healthy connection, and that you have to deal with someone who's like capable of those things, right? So when this person, saying the Lovers in reverse, it's like this person doesn't feel lovable. They don't, because I feel like you show up with so much in this connection. I'm not saying you're perfect. We all have things, but I do feel like you show up with so much for this connection. And it's so interesting because I feel like that makes them feel insecure in a way. They're like, I don't deserve this. Like, Aries is giving me all this love. I don't deserve this. So the way that they handle it is they put on that mask, and then you get frustrated because you're like, oh my God, just let your guard down. This is stupid. I already see through it. So I feel like this person has a tendency to kind of hold themselves back a little bit. And there's nothing you can do about that. I mean, you can, have empathy and you can communicate through it, but you have to be dealing with someone who's willing to communicate, right? And I feel like that's where I am a firm believer in any two people being able to make a connection work, right? But it takes both people willing to do the work to make it work, which is where, like, a lot of the times I will see one person who's so willing to do that work, but then another person who isn't. And that's where, those frustrating dynamics start to arise. But let's get more of this person's energy toward Aries. feeling we were going to see that. Okay, so you have the Page of Wands in reverse. The best way that I can describe this is this person has a tendency to turn a little bit childish when they feel insecure. And to start to maybe, I don't know. It's like when you're dealing with a connection like this, I mean, you might literally be dealing with a child, so that's one thing. Or maybe you're dealing with a parent, you are the child, which I guess this would still apply to you too. You know, when you're in healthy dynamics, you should not feel as if you are parenting your partner, as if you are, you know, hand-holding them, walking them through how to be a good partner. You should feel as if you are able to walk beside them, both, you know, people doing what they can to be good partners, right? And I feel like in this connection, it's like you see that this person could, you know, really step up here, but it just feels like, I don't know, they turn childish. Like, I don't know. I'm not trying to talk bad about them. I think that a lot of people, when they're triggered, you know, for me, something that I had to work through for a really long time is when I got triggered, my angry teenager would come out. I wouldn't cry, I'd get mad. But that, and then some other times when I was hurt, then yes, my hurt child would come out, and I'd, you know, kind of play that childish role, and that's natural, right? Like, those parts of us are going to exist. They are parts of who we are, but part of being able to handle a healthy connection is being able to be aware of those parts and not let them completely overcome us. And I think that, like, as you approach this connection, especially if this person returns, or if, like, you wish to return to their life, whatever the case is, I'm not saying don't do it. I feel like I'm just saying, or like what the cards are saying ultimately, is just make sure there's growth there, or like a willingness to grow, and not just like I'm willing to say whatever to get you back or to make this work, but like being able to, for someone to say, like, I am willing to make this work, and I'm willing to go to therapy to do that. I'm willing to, you know, work on myself and take these specific steps to do better for myself and for you. Like, that's when you know somebody is for real, is when someone has, and this is something that I love about my relationship with my husband, is anytime there's an issue between the two of us, there's always a resolution that comes from this place of both of us, no matter who brought the issue to the table, both people come and say, this is how I feel, and this is what I can do moving forward so that we don't end up back in this place. Whether it's set a boundary or communicate or not get defensive or try a little bit harder or be a little bit more empathetic towards what the other is going through, or whatever the case is, and both people having that solution means that both people are taking accountability, right? And I'm not sitting there having to say, this is what I need you to do, and this is how I need you to treat me, and this is, you know, blah, blah, blah. Sure, there are times where I have to speak up about what I need, but he's also there taking accountability for what he can do, and vice versa. I mean, I'm doing the same thing. And I think that for a long time, I didn't realize what a healthy partnership was, because I had never dealt with somebody who was willing to really take responsibility for their side of things, which pushes me to take responsibility for my side of things. So what I'm getting at is you deserve someone who meets you there, right? If you're willing to put in all of this work, if you're willing to communicate and be vulnerable and be honest and all of those things, like, you deserve someone who shows up with that exact same energy. I'm not saying this person can't. They obviously can, right? But are they willing? You know, and understanding that whether or not someone is willing really doesn't have anything to do with you. It's not like, are they willing to do it for you? It's like, are they willing to do it for them ultimately, right? Especially if they desire what this connection has, like them having to work on themselves to make it work is for them, not you, right? Which I think is where we have to understand that how people treat us is a reflection of how they feel about themselves, not us. And that doesn't make it okay. And that doesn't mean that, like, you just, like, brush off how someone treats you, but it can help you understand that, like, you have to learn to take people where they're at. And I think that with where this person is at, like, they have an opportunity to grow, but it's kind of up to them whether or not they choose to. This person's energy toward Aries. What does Aries need to know about this person's energy toward them? Yeah, see? It's like this triggered energy that causes them to like blow up, almost like throw, like the word tantrum comes to mind. Yeah, there it is. There's the death. And I feel like that's what led to some sort of ending here. Maybe you called them out. Maybe you, I don't know, brought up, I don't know. I don't know what happened. You know what happened. But I feel like now it's about figuring out how to move forward. And again, maybe for some of you, you don't want reconciliation. So this is just about like, how can you take this growth and move forward to better relationships in the future? But maybe for some of you who do, just, you can have it if you want it, sure. But only only if they come at you right? Like you want somebody who comes at you with, not only do I love you and do I want this, but I'm also willing to do what it takes to make this work. And that's where it gets really tough, is because that willingness I think is what is missing in a lot of connections, and where a lot of connections end up not working out, or there start to be these unhealthy dynamics, is because you kind of fall into the trap of believing like, oh, someone's going to change. They tell me they're going to change, or they say it'll be better. They say it's going to be different, but then, they don't actually change the behavior. So just as you move forward here in this connection with this person, if you choose to do that at all, just making sure you are coming from this place of, I need you to do better. Here's what I can do, to do better, but, I need you to do better as well. And being able to, basically, because that's the way that we basically give other people the opportunity to continue to be in our lives. We say, this is what I need. Can you show up with that? And then that's their way of, you leave the decision up to them in a way. But I don't know. I feel like this person, when they get triggered, I feel like they have a tendency to act a little bit immature, and I think that that's what is really frustrating for you. Now, you might have a tendency to get roped into that, and maybe you have a tendency to act a little bit immature because they're acting immature, and sometimes you do have to, and don't, I'm not shaming you for that, I get it, but being able to say, I don't really want to handle that, I don't want to deal with that, like, I feel like you've come really far in your own journey, and just being able to say, I've come really far, and I really respect where I'm at and who I am, and love me well or leave me alone, basically. I think you're going to handle it just fine, though, Aries. Whatever's coming at you moving forward. And regardless, I feel like you are going to attract better opportunities in the future, whether it's in this person or someone else. So you have growth with the Ace of Pentacles. We're going to hop on over to the extended. I'm going to dive deeper into these messages and looking at the deeper purpose of the connection, and then the best way for you to move forward in alignment with your higher self. Thank you so much, Aries. As always, for your support of my channel. I do hope that this reading helped, hiccuping, and resonated with you in a way that you were needing today. And as always, I wish you nothing but love and healing on your journey moving forward. All right, bye, Aries.